Today's video is brought to you by Pooper Scooper. Use code Please Don't Leave That on My Lawn for 15% off your next purchase. Hey guys, it's Jen and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a chit chat get ready with me that I'm thinking about turning into something that's a bit of a series here on my channel. Just an opportunity to share some stories with you guys and hopefully hear some stories back from all y'all in the comments, and just to, have a moment to sit down and just chat about random things, whether it's childhood, work, life, relationships, awkward teenage years, I don't know. So today I'm going to be just putting on some makeup, just super chill and just chatting with you guys. And today's topic is going to be jobs. So if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around because we're going to get started right now. Okay, so hair is up and looking interesting. All right, so let's get started. Who wants to talk about work? It's gonna be great. So I was thinking I would talk about the first job that I ever had, as I put this all on my face here. Looking groovy. The first job I ever had, I was 12 years old, 12 or 13. Right around there, and I worked on an assembly line. It was commemorative pins, and what you would do is you would take these pins and you would put them on a black felt square, and you would, clip them on to the back, put them in a glass frame, close the frame, send it down the line. I did that for a little bit, and my little fingers hurt like heck. My mom had gotten me that job. I hated it because I was a kid. I wanted to go and play. And that's what I did. I also worked with my aunt. That was toys, and that was basically taking these assembled toys and packaging them up and then shipping them out. So those were jobs that I was doing when I was about 12, 13 years old. Because my mom was a single parent and she worked really hard. So we were taught at a very young age the value of $1, and well, I was. I think that my sister, maybe she was working, I'm not really sure, but my mom wanted to make sure that we knew the value of $1 at a young age, so we started working at a very young age, and it wasn't the most uncommon thing. It's, it's perfectly normal back then, so that was my first job, and with my first paycheck, I remember I bought a Barbie doll and a lobster tail. I bought a lobster tail because I thought that that's what rich people ate. And now that I was making a living of my own, I could go ahead and buy myself lobster. I remember walking down to, we had a store. It was a little like strip mall that was about maybe a 15-minute walk from our house. So I had my little bit of cash that my mom had given me, and I walked down to the store, made my little trek down there, and I went over to, what did they have there? They had a grocery store there. They had a Newberry's there. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but back in the day, I don't even think it exists anymore. They had a donut shop and a $5 store, retail store for clothes, $5 and under, something like that. I went into the market, and I went up to the seafood counter. I bought a lobster tail. I went over to Newberry's. I bought a Barbie doll. And then I walked my little self home. I did not know how to cook at the time. Well, I mean, I knew how to cook. We learned that at a pretty young age too, my sister and I. So I did know how to cook some things, but I had never had lobster before. I had no idea how to cook it. And my mom was working, so I was home alone. So I went across the way. We lived in an apartment complex, and I went to our neighbor who was across the way, and I asked her, how am I supposed to cook a lobster tail? And she said, you boil it. So that's what I did. I boiled it for a very long time. I remember, because it came out. Once it was done, it was the consistency of rubber, like a rubber shoe. It came out terrible. I put butter on it and I ate it anyway because apparently, yeah, in my young mind, I thought that's what rich people ate. They ate lobster, and I I didn't like it. I didn't know what all the fuss was about because I thought it was absolutely terrible. So, I mean, as a kid, I didn't realize I was doing it wrong, but I thought it was horrible. I thought it was gross. I didn't know why people liked it. It didn't make any sense to me. The Barbie doll, I feel like that's going to be another series in and of itself, but my little Barbie doll, which I was very happy to have, the following day, I don't know what I was doing. I was in the living room playing or something like that, and then I heard my mom in the kitchen kind of gasp because she'd opened the freezer. We had these plastic Tupperwares, pretty decent sized ones. She had found Barbie in a nice big block of ice in that Tupperware, just pretty much frozen solid. Had come to me and said, you know, what's going on with your Barbie doll in the freezer? And I had said, I basically explained to her that Barbie had been caught in a snowstorm and I was part of the rescue team that was coming to dig her out. Barbie went through many trials and tribulations in my home and rarely lasted. I was often purchasing a new Barbie before I knew it, and there you go. I'll talk about that in a later story, but that was my first job. You know, looking back on it now, it is pretty young to be working, but it did help me to appreciate, you know, having income and managing my money. Mom was, I think, just really trying to teach us how to be self-reliant, basically, is what it comes down to. You know, I was born into a pretty sink or swim family, and that's not to have a boohoo moment. That's just basically the kind of family that I was born into. You just had to figure things out at a young age, and you had to be prepared to take care of yourself because, you know, Mom was working really hard and she was doing it by herself, and, you know, we had to be able to help out. There was one job that I had after the earthquakes. I moved to Vegas with my very good friend who is very much my sister, my extended family, and this was back in '94, and I worked in a daycare center that I absolutely loved. I love those kids. It was the lowest paying job I ever had, but it was the one that I loved the most, and I couldn't wait to get back to work on the weekends because I just really enjoyed being there. And I worked in the kitchen there and, you know, just made sure the kids had snacks and had lunch and all that stuff, and helped wash dishes, and I also helped out here and there in the classroom, and it was just the most amazing job. And those kids would just, their little faces would light up and they'd come running to you when you walk in the door, and they're just so much joy, so much innocence, just so adorable that I really loved that job. I really treasured that time. I look back on it fondly. Other jobs I've had basically have been food jobs. How are we looking here? Yeah, we're doing good. We're all right. All right, let's continue on. So basically, yeah, had worked in the food industry for many, many years, which is fine. You know, it can be a hard job dealing with the public and just dealing with stuff like that in general. Can be a very high stress job. I worked in the same restaurant out here for 18 years. Sorry, I gotta get a little powder there on my brush. Once I moved back from Vegas, I got a job in a restaurant and stayed there for a very long time. I got to make some really amazing friends, people that I still talk to this day. Really amazing people that I love dearly. And it was a long time to be in one place. And as the years passed and my good friends moved on to other things, two of them have restaurants of their own and just had moved on. And I was still there, kind of, you know, doing my thing. Getting tired of people saying, wow, you've been here forever. You've been here forever. Because it was true. I had been there forever. And I decided to make a change. I left town again. Again, worked in food service and all that stuff. I ended up working in a hotel in one of the casinos in Vegas before I moved back here again, before my husband and I reconnected and got engaged and all that good fun stuff and got married. So a lot of fun stories there, I could tell you. Working the graveyard shift in Vegas on a Friday, Saturday night, you're going to see some interesting things. And I certainly did. So currently what I do for a living is craft service. So craft service basically is feeding people anywhere from 12 to 17 hours throughout the day, and it's for film and television. That's what I'm doing for a living right now. I have worked on, I'm basically day playing right now, which means I'm just jumping from show to show. I don't have a particular series that I'm working on at the moment. You know, you make friends with people who are running these jobs. They're called keys, and they call you up and they say they need you, and if you're not working or you can, then you go ahead and you say yes, I can work, or no, you can't. And you say yes, then they send you the information and you show up and you go do the thing. And some of the days are very long days, and some of the days are just, you know, basically 12-hour days. It is a very physical job. You don't spend a whole lot of time sitting. I do have a Fitbit that I take with me, but it's mostly because it allows me to see any incoming messages, and I can communicate with people throughout the day because you can't leave your phone on. If people are filming, you don't want to disturb that. You don't want to have any noise going on, and you will get in trouble. So I don't want to get in trouble. So I leave my phone on vibrate. So my Fitbit is there for me to see if I have any incoming calls coming in. So I can see if I have any incoming calls or text messages, things like that, so I can stay in contact with people if I'm on set and I'm, you know, wandering around on the lot or something and I'm needed somewhere. It's important to, you know, have that going on. So that's why I got my Fitbit. And there have been many days where I have walked easily almost 30,000 steps in a day. It is a job that's mostly male dominated because there's a lot of heavy equipment. There's a lot of things, especially when you're on location and you got to load up the trucks and you got to load up this heavy, expensive equipment. You need to have that physical strength. I can tell you it's every snack, just about any type of food you can imagine is there. And basically when you come into work, start the day, it depends on what your call time is, but one thing always remains the same. You start the day and we usually have catering. It depends really on the budget, but most of the jobs that I work on, we do have caterers there, and you start the day with breakfast. So that's, you know, while we're there and we're setting up, breakfast is being served by the caterers. And so the crew can go ahead and, you know, start their day there, and then we set up everything and they come around to us and then they have a snack. What do I want to put on my lid? Kind of the gold. Oh, now I'm in a quandary. Okay, so what am I thinking here? Just grab two of these little jades real quick so I can see what I like. A little pinky one or the gold one. I'm not flipping you off, I promise. Both. Both. I think both would be good. So show up to work, have breakfast, and then they come to us and we already have snacks and stuff like that all set up for everybody to have to start their morning with, and coffee being one of the most essential things for us because that's what people need to, you know, keep going. So you got coffee machines, you have espresso machines, you have all this stuff, and they're usually, if we're on location or outside the studio where they're filming, we have tents that are in place to keep everything covered and out of the sun, and just to go ahead and keep basically feeding people and keeping them caffeinated throughout the day and into the night, depending on how long we work for. So they come to us, and 3 to 4 hours later after breakfast, we put out a snack. So then once you're about, let's say, 6 hours in, sometimes later, it depends on what's going on, then everyone goes to lunch. And that's again with the caterers. So they'll go and they'll have lunch, and then we'll continue on with the day, still with our snacks and cookies and cakes and all that fun stuff, and ever-present coffee because you need it to live in this job. You got to have some caffeine of some sort. And oh, that's pretty. I like that. Good idea. And then after lunch, we may go 3, 4 more hours, and then we will put out what they call second meal. And that could be, basically, it's a full-on second meal. Talking about food a lot. So yeah, we would, at the end of the night, we'll serve a final meal. And I honestly, with this job, I have never seen so much food being served in my life. I am clumsy, so I injure myself a lot at work, and that's always fun. So that's basically what we do. And I also have worked with the grips on the Titan games, and that was basically resetting the stage. And if you've ever seen the Titan games, that also required a lot of heavy lifting, because that was crazy. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a nice change from the food thing, but it was a lot of work. And I also did the clean out on that. And that's after the show wrapped and they were done, they needed a crew there for the week to work in the mornings to clean up the area and basically get rid of everything. They were breaking down the set and all that stuff. And it was in the summer, and they had cooling stations there that were basically blowing hot air and spritzing you with a little bit of water. So I really suffered through that one, and I kind of regretted picking that up because it was not an easy task for me. But, you know, I ended up doing it and it all worked out, thank God. I don't know that I would do that one again. But the thing I really like about my job is that I get to meet a lot of really amazing people. I've worked with some crews that are just so cool, like salt of the earth human beings. So that has been a real bonus for me, because there are some people that, and Candace, I know you're not watching, but if you do happen to see this, I absolutely adore you. And she's just this really adorable young lady, and just such a good, genuine person. And that's something that I've really enjoyed, that I've really found a lot of really cool people doing this job. I'm playing with my favorite lashes today, and these are the House of Lashes, the Allura Lights. These are my little Allura Lights. See if I can pop these on, and I feel like I've been rambling a lot about food and stuff. I'm not really sure how interesting any of this is really even going to be, but that's what I do. And my job is very feast or famine. You know, you have those moments where when you're busy, you are really busy. I mean, you're busy. There's job after job after job coming in. Where's my little, I should have done that until I had my little tool in my hand. Wait, hang on. Got this. So it's not like a regular 9 to 5. You're not in the same place day after day, basically. You're moving around a lot. You know, you may work on stage for a couple days, and then you'll be out on location and do that for a little bit. And so you're never in the same place. And that's kind of cool. You know, you don't really get bored. I think for me, I prefer working on stage because it's a lot easier. Because when you're on location, that's when you do most of your loading and lifting and all that jazz. So that can be a bit taxing when you're my age. Not to say that I don't have, you know, other people with me helping me. It's not like that. You have, you know, you're part of a team. You have people helping you, and it's all fine and good. But it can be really difficult when you're on location. Those are days where you get home or whatever. You're just basically falling into bed, and then 5 hours later you get up and you go back and you do it again. So but it is a all over the place kind of job. You don't really know. Your hours change a lot. It's not like a regular scheduled deal, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Each job is different from the next, and each group of people is different from the next. But for the most part, the people that I've worked with have been, you know, really cool and really nice, and I'm grateful for that, because like I said, you're spending a lot of hours with everybody. You know, it's not like you just show up for a regular, you know, 9 to 5 deal. You're there for the long haul. So the blessing is that it is a really nice group of people, and for the most part I haven't ran into really anyone that I haven't really liked, so thank God for that. And yeah, that's basically what I do. But this is something that I'm thinking that I want to start doing in between reviews and stuff like that, is really just kind of, you know, sitting down and screwing with my eyelashes. Usually they're zero stress, but today they're kind of annoying me. Come on, eyelash, do your thing. All right, I'm good with that. Okay. I say that I'm good with it and then I start messing with it again because that's just classic me. So I gotta let it go. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my little Stila here and pop that on the inner corner so I can have just a little bit more something going on because. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, I'll certainly answer whatever I can. But for the most part, that's what I do for a living. So that's why when I look back on my upload history, there are large gaps because when I'm busy and I'm working and I'm doing all that stuff, it just doesn't give me the energy or the free time to dedicate to my channel, unfortunately. So, I mean, it's part of the job, and it's just the way that it is because, you know, when I do have time off, I'm basically just relaxing, sitting, you know, just kind of healing, depending on what kind of clumsy thing I may do while I'm on set or on location, and that's basically it. When you work in the service industry, I think we all have, any one of us who works in the service industry has a lot of interesting stories to tell. I know I certainly have quite a few. But that is currently what I do right now, basically. I feed people all day long and throw out trash and lift and move heavy equipment up and down the streets of downtown LA or up in the mountain areas somewhere around here. And that's another thing I could say about this job is that I'm born and raised in this town, and I have seen places that I didn't even know existed until I started working this job. So, you know, I think anyone's job has the pros and cons. And is it my passion? No, I'm not passionate about this job. I do it because, you know, got to pay bills, and that's just the way it frickin' goes. Bye. See you later, hair clip. Should just let that go. But, you know, it is what it is. It's my job. It's what I do. So that is it for Rambling with Jen Jackson for God knows how long, because I'm going to be editing this forever, and this is the finished look. So here we are at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I truly appreciate you. If you want, give this video a thumbs up. If you would like to, subscribe. If not, totally fine. Just glad to spend some time with you, and I hope you all are having a beautiful day. Thanks. Bye.